Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a solo backpacking trip on top of a frozen lake. So as you can see right now, I've got my tent, I've got my entire sleep system already set up, my sleeping bag and my sleeping pad. And I basically positioned myself about, I don't know, maybe 50 feet offshore of the lake. And I've got the whole lake behind me to explore. So I can go walk around a little bit. This lake is not terribly deep, especially right now in the off season. The water level does go down. And there are actually snowmobile tracks about 100 yards behind me. So that tells me they are fresh tracks, but that does tell me that the ice is thick enough to support significant weight right now. So what I've done is with the snow on top of the lake, I should mention right now it is a little warm. This snow fell about 2 days ago and the temperature is up a little bit. So every footstep that I make on the lake is turning into a really, really wet, nasty, soppy mess. It's a mess. So I took my tent pegs, put them in the snow, and I'm hoping that later on tonight when it gets down to minus 10 degrees, that does not freeze my tent pegs to the lake, because that's not going to be fun trying to get the tent off of the lake tomorrow morning. So right now I have, like I said, everything set up, and I do need a coffee right away. So I want to get some snow, get it in my pot, melt it, and make up a quick coffee and have a really quick lunch. All right guys, I'm done with my lunch break. I've had a coffee and a snack, and I think right now it's time to go get some firewood. So my thoughts are, right where the tent is situated, it looks really good. What I think I'm going to do is have a fire back where I was drinking my coffee. So out farther on the lake, because the wind is kind of blowing, it's kind of going this way, but that way. So I think if I put the fire off in that direction, if there are any high winds later on while it's burning, it'll blow the embers away from the tent. So I am going to need some round logs, probably about 4 to 6 inches in diameter, 2 of them placed on the ice, and then build a small fire on top of that. Now this fire is simply just for aesthetics and maybe to warm up my coffee a little bit, because I do only have one gas canister with me. So this canister is full, but I also have to cook supper with this and do coffee in the morning. So I don't want to deplete my gas source. I'd rather have a fire. Now there is another option. I could go ashore and have a fire, but I think it's going to be a little bit more interesting to have the fire out here on the lake rather than in the woods, because I do that all the time. So I want to be out on the ice and do something a little bit different this time. So it's going to be saw, head into the woods, and hopefully come out with some decent pieces of firewood. All right guys, I got one load of firewood cut up. I left my saw and the rest back in the woods. So I'm gonna go back and go collect a few more pieces, get everything laid out here, get it all prepared, and then get ready for supper and light the fire in a little bit after that, because it is starting to get dark out. The clouds are getting real dark and nasty. So I do want to get this taken care of early and basically get everything organized. So I'm gonna head back in and grab my saw, grab the rest of the wood, get it out here, and then continue on with cooking. All right guys, I got all the firewood set over where I'm gonna have the outdoor fire, and I've just come over back to my kind of gear area for now. I did take off my wool anorak because I'm gonna be splitting some wood over there in just a second, but taking that off has lowered my body temperature quite a bit because it is cold out. So what I'm gonna do is get this stove going again, and I'm gonna warm up some coffee, and then I'm gonna bring my coffee and all my cooking gear and everything over to the fire area, get that wood split up, and then start on cooking supper. And the meal that I brought today is very simple. It's just a ramen dish with a little bit of a kick, and I'm just gonna cook that up real quick, real nice and simple, because like I said, it is getting dark out. The clouds are getting really moody, and it looks like it's gonna make for some excellent photography. So I want to get this done quickly so I can have time to shoot a few photos. And if you guys are interested in the photos that I take, they're all on my Instagram. The link is in the description of the video. Have a look if you're interested, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I do want to get all this gear over there, get this coffee warmed up, and then start splitting wood and then start cooking. All right, guys, I got all the firewood all cut up and split up. I even got the fire lay set and ready to go with some birch bark in there. All I got to do is throw a spark in with my fire steel and hopefully it'll take right off. So what I got on the go right now is I got my pot full of snow again. I have to make some more water. So I'm going to get this done up as quickly as I can. And I've got all my vegetables and food in my backpack. I'm going to get that out and use the pack as a little tabletop out here. And hopefully this will cook up quickly and then I can clean up and get everything set away and then enjoy a little bit of the colors and the sunset turning and then get the fire going, because I think that's going to be really fun, having the fire going with the colors in the sky and the tent and everything. I think it's going to be really cool. So I am going to be doing some photography tonight and I'm hoping that I get some great shots. So right now, first priority, get this food cooked up because it is going to take a few minutes to make some water and then cook up the food. And then after that, it's going to be fire time. All right, guys, supper's ready and it does smell amazing. Very simple dish. A couple yellow peppers, orange peppers, spinach, green onion, and I believe that's all I put in there, and a bit of yellow onion. So ramen, excellent for a day like this. Let's give this a go. Oh yeah. Nice crunchy vegetables. And it is starting to cool off, so this nice hot soup in the bottom of there is going to be really, really good. Oh yeah. All right, so I'm going to eat this as quickly as I can because the light is still changing quite rapidly. And it's also getting very, very cold. So I'm going to have to get my sweater back on, come over here, light the fire, and enjoy watching the colors change and night fade. or day fade into night, I should say. So I'm kind of in a hurry right now, so I'm going to eat this up really quickly and then get that fire going and sit back and relax. All right, guys, supper is all done, and I gotta say it was really good. I've been bumping around camp a little bit, and I've actually ventured quite far out onto the lake. I was out sitting on that giant rock out there, so that was really cool. We got some great colors in the sky right now. We've got a little bit of wildlife, actually. We've got some birds flying over right now, and I've been hearing some animals off in the distance as well, so it's getting kind of interesting out here. The ice is cracking and moaning and groaning, which is a little nerve-wracking, but there goes that bird. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just getting my flashlights and my headlamp ready. I'm gonna get my backpack set on the other side of the tent in the little vestibule area. And I've already got my kettle, my pot, my canister stove, everything underneath this little flap here. So later on when I crawl in here, I'll be able to turn my headlamp on and kind of work outside of the tent from inside of the tent, because I do need to boil up some water from snow in my kettle and my pot to have for later on and early in the morning. It's nice to have water and not have to mess around with making water from snow. So that campfire in the background is still looking really good. I'm going to go over and load a little bit more wood on that. That seems to be working really well with the logs underneath. There's not a whole lot of melt yet, so I'm going to keep a really close eye on that. But so far everything is looking really good. I'm just getting all of this situated so I don't have to do it later on in the dark. So get all this put away and then head back over to the fire and enjoy the sunset. All right, guys, nightfall is now here, and I've got my last couple pieces of wood on the fire. It is quite smoky though, so the smoke is blowing in my face. My eyes are watering like crazy right now, so I'm not really feeling like sitting in front of the fire for too much longer. It'll be out very shortly anyways. It's starting to burn down into a puddle of water, so I'm gonna let it do its thing, but do have some updates. The moon is starting to poke through the clouds, and it is a full moon tonight. So we got a full moon. We're sleeping on a frozen lake that is creaking and cracking like crazy. I'm all by myself, and I'm going to be watching the movie The Gray. It should be a pretty interesting night, so I'll let you guys know how everything works out. If you guys aren't familiar with that movie, do a quick search on Google or whatever, The Gray. I'm going to be enjoying that tonight, so I'm going to let this burn out a little bit. I have half a sip of beer left. Basically just gonna finish this up, put the fire out or let it go out, and get my lights, get all my gear squared away inside of the tent. As you can see back there, it looks pretty cozy. And then I'm gonna be jumping in, getting my boots off, getting changed into some dry clothing, and basically watching my movie and then going to sleep. So I'm gonna say goodnight now, and I'll catch you guys in the morning for coffee. Good night, guys. Good morning, guys. It is a beautiful morning out here. It is frigid cold. I've got the fire going right now, but as you can see, it is starting to die down to nothing but coals. I've been up for a little while now. I've done coffee and breakfast, and I've got all my cooking area stuff still set up here. And I'm going to make a second coffee because I'm eyeballing that rock out on the lake that I was sitting on last night. And I think I'd like to go out there and just enjoy this quiet, sitting on that rock having a cup of coffee. So I'm going to fire up the canister stove, get my kettle back on there, and get the coffee heated up again. And for new viewers, I probably should mention this. The reason why I don't put my titanium kettle over the fire is because I've already colored it to the color that it is. So all these nice blues and purples and whatnot on the kettle, I actually colored that at home. And I know it's a bit of a silly reason not to put it over the fire, but if I put it over the fire, it's going to completely change the color of the kettle. And so I don't. I'd much rather just burn gas out of my canister stove and heat up my coffee that way. It's not a huge deal. Other trips, I'll bring a different kettle and I'll actually put it in the fire. Same with my 750 ml pot, but this morning I needed more water, so I just decided to do the kettle on the canister stove, make a lot of water in one go, because I forgot to do it last night. So that's the plan, get the smoke out of my face, and then I'm going to make up another coffee and get that ready and then head out to that rock. Alright guys, I'm back from my morning coffee out on that rock, and I gotta say, it was awesome. Sitting out on that rock in the middle of the lake, pretty powerful feeling. You know, the sun's still coming up, it's just completely silent out here. A little bit of the cracking of the ice can be heard though. The ice is shifting, so a little bit of cracks and creaks, but all in all, a really great coffee out on that rock. So now is going to be hopefully not the difficult part. You'll notice that everything I'm kneeling on is completely frozen. So it did get down to minus 18 degrees last night, Celsius. And all this slush area yesterday that I was walking in is now completely frozen. So are my tent pegs. So my tent pegs that I placed horizontally as kind of like dead man anchors for the guy lines and the tent, they're all in that slush. Now I haven't touched it, so I'm hoping maybe it'll come out easy, but if not, I did bring a titanium pry bar. So I got a little tool here. I got this little EDC titanium pry bar, and it's got a pretty decent chisel edge on it, and I feel that if they don't come out, I'll be able to kind of nestle that in there, get a piece of wood and chisel them out essentially. So I'm not too worried about it, but hopefully they'll come out without any issue. That's why I brought this. So it is now time to get unpacked, or pack up, I should say. Unpack the tent, unload the tent, get the sleeping bag out, the sleeping mattress out, get all that packed back inside the bag. I still got all my cooking stuff over by the fire pit, so I'm going to leave that all there because this stuff needs to go in first and then the cooking stuff on top. And as you guys know, the sleeping bag, usually I take my sleeping bag and I just cram it in there. This is actually a new sleeping bag and I haven't configured how it's going to jam in there yet. So I am actually going to be putting it back inside of its original stuff sack, and then just put everything in as it was yesterday when I arrived. So let's get started on that. Alright guys, I got the sleeping bag inside of the stuff sack and the sleeping pad inside of the stuff sack. I've just taken off my wool gloves and I'm going to put on my leather gloves because I'm kind of anticipating the worst case scenario here. This ice is completely frozen, so I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. Now I did take a step out in the snowy area around the tent and I actually did find slush. So just underneath the snow, about 2 or 3 inches, it turned the slush on my footprints. I didn't disturb this area, so hopefully it's still slush. But if not, I've got my pry bar. I'll be able to chisel it out. What do you guys think? Before I pull them out, drop down in the comment section. What do you guys think? Do you think they're going to be frozen or do you think they're actually going to come out? Let's give it a go. So this is peg number 1. Peg number 1 is frozen in, so that's going to need some work. Let's check peg number 2. Okay, peg number 2 came out. So there's one peg just in the slush. A little bit of chiseling, but basically on the surface, so that came out pretty well. I'm going to go around the tent and I'm going to continue doing that, and when I get it all finished up, I'll let you guys know how many were stuck, how many came free, and then we'll get this broken down and get the poles and the tent back in the stuff sack and then continue on with the pack up. Alright guys, so not too bad. Only 2 out of 6 were actually stuck. This one at the front door was really stuck, and the reason why, I kind of knew that this one was going to be the one that was going to give me trouble, but the reason why this one at the front door was stuck is because I crammed it down as far as I could, because this front door is going to have the most strain on the peg out point because it's the door. So I had this guide out really tight, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't come out. So this one was expected to give me some trouble, but other than that, all of them came out pretty easy. So there you can see the tent's free. I got the ground sheet underneath protecting from all that slush layer, so that worked out really well. And now I'm basically ready to get the tent broken down and get it in the stuff sack, get the sleeping bag and the sleeping pad in there first. So how I packed the bag this trip was, picture the backpack being vertical right now, standing up in front of me. So down on the very bottom, vertically, I put the sleeping bag, and then I put the sleeping pad, and then I did the tent. So everything was a vertical pack, but they were different heights. So that opened up different areas where I could put my kettle to kind of level out the height of the sleeping pad, bring it up to the sleeping bag. And then I just kind of stuffed things around that in the circular motion, picking out every little nook and cranny that I could find. And then I had items such as my ski mask here. So this is a black double layer ski mask, and I like sleeping with this. So my soft items like this, I crammed in any area that needed to expand, because usually I'll do my sleeping bag out of the stuff sack and let it expand. But this is the first time I've actually used this sleeping bag in a small pack, and I had no idea how much room it would loft or how much room I could actually get away with. So the more I use this, the more I'll get an idea of how much it actually expands. So far, so good though. I was really happy last night. Like I said earlier, I was warm all night, no issues. Excellent time. So now I do have to get this taken apart. I'm going to get it all in the backpack and go over to the fire pit and get all my cooking stuff and bring that over, and then continue packing up, and then I'll give you guys the rundown at the very end as to how everything went. Okay guys, I got all my gear packed away inside of the pack, and it's kind of it's kind of slouching a little bit, so I actually need more gear in there to fill the bag. So that's kind of I guess I could have left the down bag out of the stuff sack and let it loft up, but I know that now for next time I use this particular setup. So everything went really, really well. I had the fire out on the lake, which I was kind of hesitant about, but it actually worked out really well. And the tent was positioned just behind the camera. I had this amazing scenery all night with the colors, especially that fiery red sunrise this morning. So I had a really, really great trip. I'm gonna get this pack on me and get off the lake and start the hike out of here. If you guys have any questions or comments, as always, drop it down in the comment section and I'll be sure to get back to you on it. Other than that, I thank you guys very much for tuning in, and it is time to get out of here. So this is going to get on my back, and I've got to get that camera put away and head off the lake and get out of here. So peace out guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.